time. Something has got to happen because we can no longer go down the path that we're going down. This country won't last another 6 months. This country won't last another 12 months if something doesn't happen. So it's time to flip the switch. It's time to get involved. It's time to move the line forward. And if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. So I don't care what flip the switch is. I don't care if that means that all of this nonsense is nonsense, or if some of it's true. All right, welcome. Can you guys give me a 5x5 if you can hear me, please, before I get started? You guys hear me? Anyone? Can you hear me? Okay, 5x5. All right, thank God. All right. Welcome, Warriors, World Patriots, and my fellow Americans. My name is Mike. I'm the host of Liberty Warrior. Give me liberty or give me death. When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. Yes, it's a new intro. It's a different show. We were just having some massive problems over there on Podbean. Me especially, the other two had mics and they sounded great, but for some reason my mic was not working on Podbean, and it works here just fine. So I don't know what that was all about. I guess I'm going to have some work to do after the show to check Podbean out because I really wanted to get these two guys over on Podbean so we didn't have to talk in code. But they're in the waiting room. They're ready to go. Today is Monday, of course, Monday. I'm having a Monday, January the 17th, 2022. So, welcome everybody. I know a lot of you are actually going to appreciate us being over here on YouTube for the simple fact that Podbean has a ceiling of 500. So, if we get more than 500 people in here, I'm sure a lot of people will be thrilled that they actually get to listen to this live instead of having to listen to the pre-record. But I just really like Podbean because we sound better and we have a little more freedom over there to speak frankly. So I'm going to go ahead and bring our two guests in. I know they've been waiting for a minute here on me. Welcome, Scott. Welcome, Red. How are you two both doing today?
5 by 5.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I've had better days. I've had technical difficulties since about 5:30 this morning. I've been fighting technical difficulties, so it's been a Monday from hell.
Typical day is all I can say.
Absolutely. I was really looking forward to getting you two over there on Podbean. So I'll get the mic situation fixed, and then we'll just have to reschedule to get you both over there again together on Podbean, and we'll just go from there.
Hell yeah.
Well, we were kind of talking backstage earlier today, and I know this has kind of got a lot of attention. The Trump speech, and I know a lot of people have talked about it. Everybody's got their own opinion of it. We were kind of talking about it, and we thought that maybe we'd go that direction. There's no time limit on this show, so we'll go until you guys have had enough, and then we'll get off of here. So we'll go for however long. But if you guys want to stay on that topic, we can definitely hit it. If not, we can pick up a couple other topics along the way. But I think I'll go ahead. I'll let Scott go first, and then follow up with you, Red. How's that sound?
Great.
Well, you got to be real careful because I did a short little video reading YouTube's terms of service on this a couple of 3 weeks ago, and they struck that video of me reading their terms of service verbatim on what you can't not talk about. So you can't make this shit up, man.
No,
I got a
you
video
cannot.
taken down with somebody that works for WHO, and I just put up exactly what they said verbatim, and I got a strike. It's like, these are the guys you're protecting. I'm just putting up what they said.
Yeah, I played news clips and haven't even said anything, and I got taken down for that.
I know. Like I said, I read it verbatim and didn't ad lib, didn't go nuts on it, didn't make a bunch of comments about it. Just read the damn thing, and they struck the video. I'm like, oh damn, this is 1984 on steroids. That's all I can say.
It's the world we're living in at the moment. Until we all make conscious decisions to get involved and help make change. But it's unfortunate that that's where we're at. But we keep fighting back. I mean, let's go around the table and let's ask, how many channels has Red gone through, and how many channels has Scott gone through? Red, you go first.
First, I'd like to say what we're having right now, to comment on what both of you said, is we are having a taste of China. And when it's all over, all of them Chinese restaurants that we've been eating once a month at for the last couple of years, they're going to go out of business because we're going to be tired of China. And to go over, I've dropped, I've proudly kamikazed 11, which I believe is the point where Street Fighter Scott McKay left off and decided not to come back, and I'm pushing for 13, and I should have number 12 down soon. I can't see Alice in Intel Land lasting much longer. That's a second Alice in Intel Land, which I just gained control of again today. How about you, Snafu?
Well, my original channel was taken down in 2018, and I had quite a few people asking me to make a backup channel. This is before anybody even knew about having to have a backup channel. you know. And
Was
so,
it kind of against the rules to have a backup channel back then? Or was that
well,
a little bit before, like 2015? Am I not dating it right?
actually, I don't know about that. All I know is in January of 2018, they took the channel out, and technically, you can get three channels off one cell phone number.
Yeah.
And so I created a backup channel about roughly about 6 months later, and I posted a few videos on it. And then I was at a burnout stage, and I didn't want to keep repeating myself because I was talking a lot about law and all this other stuff. And I thought, shoot, I'm just going to take a break. And I went silent for 3 years, and I didn't even start posting anything until January 10th of 21. And I was really surprised that this channel that I have now has been up for a year. And so it's had a couple of strikes on it. And then the backup channel has a couple of strikes on it as well. So they're running about even, Steven. And Twitter, naturally everybody got booted off it. I had like three different handles on Twitter and all that and all this other stuff. So to me, I was just like, shoot, I'm just going to kind of go quiet for a little bit and see what happens with everybody.
I got 5 strikes on Egg Face, and I'm just locked out. It's not down. That's scary. I think they got a new strike system because my other channel had this to like, it's a strike, but we're not going to put it against you to take you down, or they're leaving me up to let me hang myself.
Well, it's kind of funny when you get froze out of the account because all the videos are still there. So people can still go back and see them and all.
But they don't know you're locked out. They're like, where's he been for 2 weeks?
Well, that's the thing. When this all first originally started, especially back in 2018, they took down all the smaller channels before they went after all the, like Alex Jones and all that stuff. I know because I was banned about 3, maybe 4 months before they went after all the bigger channels. And to me, it was a well designed, coordinated effort to take down all the small channels first. Because if they'd have went after the big channels, all the small channels would have been talking about it. It would have really blown them all up because they're telling everybody, hey, all the big channels are being taken down. So they go after the small channels first, take them all out. Then because nobody knows what happens to you, just like you were saying.
No.
And, people were asking me, it's like, well, where you been? I was like, dude, I got banned, man. What do you think, And nobody knew about it because 2018, that was when nobody had heard about getting a strike before because YouTube used to be the Wild West. And especially like in 2015, when videos were allowed to go viral, and I had several videos go viral. And
I
so,
had one.
oh, yeah, that was crazy too. I mean, when a video starts going viral, you're like, holy crap, man, what is going on here? So it was definitely a weird experience. And then coming back in 2018, is when I started posting again, and I had videos starting to go viral again. And it's really strange. I did a video on the backup channel. It's called the Kobayashi Maru. And if you go and listen to it, it kind of explains how I basically outran them because people were freaking out. They're saying, oh, you need to get a backup channel. You need to get a backup channel. I was like, I already got a backup channel. It just happens to be about 3 years old. And they're like, holy crap. I was like, oh yeah, this ain't my first rodeo. And so that's when people were kind of starting to recognize it's like, holy crap, man, you've been doing this for a while. I was like, oh yeah, been doing it for a long time, since 2013. So
This is my last rodeo.
on YouTube,
Well,
probably.
I've got, gentlemen, I've got 8 channels on YouTube. I got a Facebook, a Twitch, and now Podbean, and we're looking into some other platforms too. Usually, what I do is when I get to strike number 2, I back off and go to another channel, and that way they can't wipe all my content out, and I lose all my subscribers. So it's just a constant battle
How many
trying
you
to.
got left on YouTube out of the 8? All
I
8?
still have all 8. I have all 8.
Wow.
I just try to stay. I try to stay 3 steps ahead. If they strike me once and then they strike me a second time, I just completely move off of that channel and move to one of my other alternates until like my big channel that's got 17,000 on it. All my strikes will be off of it next month, and then it'll be a clear channel again, and I can go back to it if I wanted to.
You
I
mean they
just go
remove
on.
strikes after a while?
Yeah.
Correct. It takes
They
90
expire.
days. It takes 60 to 90 days, and then those strikes come off, and then you got a clean slate all over again.
Which means 11 times I got 3 strikes in 90 days.
We'll see.
11 times the channels that came down. But I see it like I'm Daffy Duck in a fighter jet, and I got that little stamp going on the side door for every channel I take down. That's what I see in my head. So I don't mind taking them down, and I don't mind losing subscribers, because there's nothing good about having 60,000 subscribers on an Intel channel. If it's about gardening, hell yeah, But Intel, no, it's a different bunch. That's Mike Penny's bunch. That's the ones he's got right now.
Well,
they're a tough crowd.
What was really hard to outrun is when you were struck, and then they would go and strike you again while you couldn't post. So that's what they were doing to me. While I was still in the middle of the first strike, they'd give me the second strike. And so then you would get struck for another couple of weeks and couldn't post. And then they'd hit you with that third one, just knock you smooth off, So that was
I get the third one the day I go back. The day I'm good, then I get the third strike. Like, they won't give me my third strike while I'm out of commission. They wait for me to go back in commission to take me down. That's happened 2 or 3 times.
Well, that's pretty much par for the course, but that is good news that after 90 days, they'll remove a strike. And so basically just kind of go quiet or move to another channel like Mike is doing, or I could go to the backup channel and kind of do some of that stuff and, just kind of keep going. So that's,
yeah, because if you get the third strike, they completely take your channel away. At least they're supposed to. So that's why I always back off after strike 2. That's why I got so many channels, so I can move around. I know it's a pain in the butt. I know it's a pain in the butt for people to find us again. That's why I just tell them, go to my page. It usually has all of the channels on there. Subscribe to every one of our channels. And then that way, no matter what happens, you'll always be able to find us. Plus, we send out emails through our website to let everybody know what's going on. I heard that you just got taken down. I think it was last week, Scott.
Yeah, I got struck Friday for a video back in February of 21, and it was the title was fake news, but they said it was medical misinformation. So,
well, it's fake medical information. Jesus,
they could take.
It says fake news.
Oh yeah, the thumbnail was all fake news. It was all about, the title was fake news. And then they want to say medical misinformation. I was like, whatever, take your pick. There's plenty to choose from, I'm sure, on that one.
Yep. Bonnie's in the chat. She says she got copyrights. Bonnie, copyrights are no big deal. You can get 1 million copyrights and they will not take you down. And you can fight copyrights if you have the YouTube codes like I do. I got the YouTube codes, so every time I get a copyright, I go in there and I put my codes in there. They restrict the copyright, and then all is well. But you can play any kind of music you want. They can copyright you, but where you get in trouble is if you play too much of the music, they'll actually just take you down. So just be cautious of that. But
they also put ads on it and allow the copyright owner to take the ad money.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm going through that with my fun channel, and I do a movie night usually once a month where I'll get an old movie that's like we did Babes in Toyland, stuff that's has no copyright, and they're copyright striking me for songs in the movie, which are protected. Now, if it wasn't in the context of being in the movie, then it might have that song might be copyright protected. But in that movie, it's not copyright protected. So I couldn't, no matter what I said to him, but I know that's the truth. And the same thing with a 1933 Disney movie when they weren't even called Disney yet. They were called Silly Stories or something like that. And 1933, there's no copyright law. Everything 1933 is in the public domain. No questions asked. I got a strike for that. All 2 strikes in 1 2-hour premiere where we all sit and talk and watch the movie together.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. We are definitely. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to what Red said at the beginning. Welcome to China.
Yeah.
Right. So, gentlemen, should we get on to the topic of Saturday night's speech? I don't want to say his name too many times because I can get a strike for that too. So we'll just call him Mr. T. And I know a lot of people have already gone over this. They analyzed it, all kinds of things on Telegram. Of course, I have my opinion, and you two gentlemen have different opinions as well. So I just thought it was. I'll go first. I'll just say that I thought it was pretty much the same as usual, and the only thing that I noticed that was different this time was he talked about the vacations, how to leave our children alone, leave us alone, and leave our businesses alone, leave us alone. Let us go back to work. Let us live our lives. And it kind of seemed like he was really leaning hard on that. So that's kind of what I got from it. I really didn't get anything else from it other than the same speech that we've been hearing now for a little over a year since he left office. So I'll go to Red first and then over to Scott. Your thoughts on that, Red?
You take it, Scott. I'm looking at my notes.
Well, I was busy and I got some other projects that I'm working on. So I actually didn't get to watch it. So I was kind of waiting to follow up on Telegram to see if anybody clipped out some things that were really worth noting, because everybody talks about all kinds of relevant things that are kind of hidden, in some of the messaging. So I was going to kind of follow up on that. So I really don't have a whole lot to add to that. Unfortunately, that's the first one I've missed in a very long.
Well, you're right though about the messaging. I mean, he threw out the 55,000. So that was like a big deal because it goes back to a 17 post. And people grabbed on that. I don't subscribe to that. I've read probably 417 posts in my life, but you are right. The typical things you expected to happen happened. I think that he was speaking to a lot of newly awakened people that did not vote for him last time. So I think the speech was kind of geared toward that a little bit, but I thought he came out with guns blazing at the beginning. And the things he said that came out of his mouth would put him in court for libel. I mean, he accused people directly of very awful things. He didn't beat around the bush. He named names. Okay, that's lawyer time. Unless you don't want to go to court and allow them to bring evidence or have a discovery. So I thought it was powerful.
Yeah, discovery would be the big one, and that's
what he's pushing for. That's why he's baiting them. He's saying these awful things to bait them to try and get in court so they can do a discovery or present evidence. When in his case, I think it's going to be more presenting evidence. He don't need a discovery. Mike, by the way, Mike Lindell, I'm told all of his bank accounts are frozen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was kind of pretty much spread all over the net 3 or 4 days ago, I think now. So yeah, they're doing that.
I hope that scares blue zombies, even if they hate them.
you know, eh, I don't know if anything scares some of those people because I think they're actually in on it. And so there's so many, it's like I've been hearing, and everybody's known this. If you listen to some of the stuff Judge Napolitano has even been saying, when 51% of the population, is either in on it, state, local, federal, people on food stamps and all this, everybody that's on the government dole, they don't want the system to change. And so that's where we're facing this whole Rubicon that has to cross over now is when you have 51% of the people on the take, then you've got a pretty uphill battle right there. And no matter how much empirical evidence you bring out before people, they're going to refuse to accept the truth just for that.
Unless it's children.
Well,
that will bring the world together. That will bring the world together. They bring out the children thing, and I believe there's going to be a huge awakening. And me and you and Mike and Dee and Essential and Kim and Kathy and all of our family members and all of our channels are going to be the people, as Dee said to me, that have to help and hold those people and assist them in the mind fuck that they have been presented with. And we have to do the healing with those people. So when we see people in this niche that are not exhuming love, then we know that they are our enemy. No matter how they can call themselves anything they want. Okay, I'm a Democrat. I'm not a Trumper. I'm independent now, but I'm a Kennedy Democrat. I'm not a Nancy Pelosi Democrat. She is a communist in Democratic clothing. She's wearing my uniform and presenting herself as someone who holds my beliefs, which is not the truth. So when the world comes to find out what I found out, and that children were involved, the healing is going to be extremely painful. And as men, we're all going to spend a lot of nights crying because it's not over yet, man. We got to get those people to wake up and then heal.
Well, I always call myself a paleo conservative, because I'm more in the camp of limited government and limited control.
Me too, man.
And
me too.
Well, basically that's kind of like the old blue dog Democrats, they were kind of for that stuff. And then, the Republicans are supposed to be for that. And it's just amazing.
Ask what you can do for your country.
Well,
don't ask what your country can do for you. John F. Kennedy. It's exactly where I'm at. The smallest government, we can get federal government down to 8 guys. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a constitutional
we probably could.
I'm a constitutional conservative independent. I don't vote on party lines just because. I try to do my homework and vote for the person that makes the most sense for me. But they have to have my constitutional values. They got to believe in the Constitution and uphold it. They have to be a patriot. They have to love this country. God-fearing, and so that's the camp that I am in politics, and I really I hold fast to that. I will not bend. I will not. I won't vote for somebody just because they're Republican or just because they're Democrat. Of course, I mainly vote Republican. I have voted Democrat once in my life just because I felt like they were the better candidate. So. When you start talking about T and his base, that takes us to a whole nother level.
That's the first time I went. I mean, I voted independent a bunch of times, like always for the wrong guy, but I did vote for, what was his name? Ross. Hey, I'm Ross Perot. Hey, everybody, Ross Perot. I think I voted. Didn't he run in the primaries once, or he ran for president once, and then he just tried to get the primaries?
Yeah.
How did that go?
Well,
or
they
he's
they claim
independent
he was the
twice.
spoiler for Bush. So he ran in '92 against Bush Senior and Bill Clinton the first time, and they
I
claim
voted
that
for him.
they
Yeah.
claim that pro took enough votes from Bush Senior that's how Clinton got in the office.
Well,
I
the
was told,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I want to throw this in. I was told it's either New Zealand or Australia that does a 3-vote system. So say there's 3 guys voting, and the worst guy on the list to you is Ross Perot. So you give him 3 votes. The second worst guy on the is Bush. You give him 2 votes. The best guy on the ticket that you think out of the 3 is Bill Clinton. So you give him 1 vote. So whoever has the lowest number of votes wins. 3-party system. Sorry, go ahead, Snafu.
Oh, no, I was going to say is Perot basically got threatened, and that's why he dropped out. And
Oh.
so that was the word here in Texas, at least, because, he's from Texas and all. So he was threatened, and his family was threatened, and that was the reason he ultimately dropped out. So,
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this question, Snafu. If he hadn't have dropped out, and if he would have been elected president of the United States as another businessman, do you think he would have done a really good job for this country as a businessman? Kind of like Trump.
I would have to say yes, only because none of these people in politics have ever owned a business, never ran a business. They can't even count. So to have a businessman to come in there and actually fire people, because that's the one thing, with all these people in government, you can't fire them and you can't get rid of them. So, yes, only for the fact he could have potentially come in there and started cleaning house and get rid of a lot of these people. Why do you think they threatened him and ran him out? Because he probably had that potential to do something like that. He built a business. He built a billion-dollar business in the
You
computer.
can't be a business owner and be a Democrat. That's the truth. You
Well,
can't be a business owner with one employee. As soon as you hire your first employee, no matter what you are, you're no longer a Democrat. Because all they're doing is emptying your pocket. When you're talking about the dollars in your pocket and how much it costs to have an employee, you can't be a Democrat. You're automatically a Republican, at least, if not a constitutionalist. Sorry to interrupt you. I had to throw that in there.
No, that's fine. Like I say, it's people
Ross
used
was a miser.
Oh, he was a penny pincher. I mean, hell, that some bitch could squeeze the shit out of a buffalo nickel, you
That's
know?
why my dad liked him.
So, you know, people used to be in government temporarily and then they'd go back to their farms or go back to their jobs and all that stuff. So these were actual real business type people. Some of the smartest people you'll ever meet are farmers. I think the Guinness
Amen.
Agreed.
World Record even lists a farmer as being one of the smartest guys. The last time I heard, of course, it may have changed, but hell, damn farmers, they can fix damn near anything, and they can grow the food, do all this other stuff. So, these were the backbone type people that you need political instead of these people that live on the government tit. I mean, and all these people, they've been in government. Why is it that these people are 70, 80 years old in government? They're so damn out of touch with everything. Hell, they don't know nothing about no damn computer. Hell, they couldn't do a YouTube show if they wanted to. But they sit up there and babble and talk a bunch of nonsense and trash, and all of a sudden they're always, well, you can't talk about it, so never mind. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to ask both of you another question. I'm going to go to Red first and then back to Snafu, but I just wanted to answer something real quick in the chat. Listen, when it pertains to Mel K and the comment that you made in chat, I can tell you there's people out there that have done videos where they pulled up her background where she was in some very risque videos, and unless she got some plumbing added, I would say that she is a female. And as far
Yeah,
as
I'd
the
say
crack,
she's a girl.
as far as the Kraken goes, I'm pretty sure she's female too. So, that's to me is just more distraction and more just having you worry about stuff that's not even really that important, to be honest with you. So
You
I
know
know
what
a
is
lot.
important? Who said it?
Well,
That's important.
it was negative 48. He puts out a lot of stuff, and
Okay, then what do we know about him?
I'm
See
not
what
a
I'm
huge
saying?
fan.
This is how we
Yeah,
eliminate. This is how we eliminate the three-letter agencies from our, at least our personal list of who we can listen to for intel. We can't let everybody. I mean, we can't. The whole world's not going to say. It doesn't matter. You never don't listen to the message. Look at the messenger. And 99% of the time, if it's not the three-letter agency, it's some dumbass that's listening to a three-letter agency. So you have to scratch them off your list. And
yeah.
that's why I
I
say
wouldn't pay
intel doesn't
attention
matter.
to him. I
Yeah.
wouldn't pay attention to him. I would say Mel K is definitely 100% female. That's what
Hell
I'm going to
yeah,
say.
she is. Oh yeah.
So let me ask the next question. The next question is about T and about the governor of Florida. Um, I'm still a T supporter. I really think it's his to lose if he decided to run in any other elections. I know Snafu thinks a different way, and I like that because it's nice to have difference of opinions here. But just hypothetically, if he was to run for another election, I think it's his to lose. But then, I'm seeing things in news articles when I'm researching and reading, and it kind of looks like DeSantis from Florida might be kind of trying to make a move. Now, could it be a move to run for the highest position, or would those two maybe team up as one and two and go into the next cycle as one and two? I don't know, but I'm going to go to Red first and get your thoughts on that whole dynamic. What do you think? And then I'll jump over to Snafu.
I think Trump's going to run for Speaker of the House in 2022. T is going to run for Speaker of the House. And then if he wants to, he's just lining him up for the election 2 years later when his term is up anyway as Speaker. And it would make sense to have somebody like DeSantis because he is the most powerful governor on the red pill side in America. Why wouldn't you take the strongest guy? So, yeah, that makes total sense. But I think that there's going to be a run for Speaker because he'll slam that.
Snafu,
He'll get put in, and they can name anybody they want to be Speaker. I looked it up.
Yep.
And
yeah,
I want to talk about DOD 11.3. But go on, Snafu.
Well, DeSantis has been doing a very good job, and he is certainly paying attention to what the people are saying, and he's doing things the right way, in my opinion. And, he's basically showing other people what it takes to get into a position to where people are going to pay a lot of attention to him on both sides. So how it lines up down the road, nobody really knows. But for him to be doing the things that he's doing, I think Florida is in a really good position, and it's embarrassing a whole lot of other people. And that's where you kind of really have to look at is like, how are these other people being so wrong about everything? And that's where you really kind of, it's almost, I always say this, not what they say, it's what they don't say. And look at what he's saying and look at what these other people are not saying. And that's widening the gap so far now that you definitely have a lot of people holding him up into a very, very laudable position. I'll put it like that.
Red, you wanted to bring up something? You there, Red?
Did Red fall off?
There we go. There we go.
There he is.
I keep my pause. I mute it when I'm not talking. Sorry. So that scenario that I gave you was based on the matrix that the blue zombies also live in. Okay, so that's the world that the people that don't believe what we know are living in. That scenario in that world, which could act out, which could play through as the scenario that happens. But the scenario that my heart is in is the DoD 11.3 in the DoD's manual for war, and it's according to UN regulations, and the last time it was updated is 2016. And in there 11.3, and I spent a long time trying to find it, and it was mentioned to me a long time ago by Will Justice, and then again mentioned to me by Will Justice in a phone conversation. At the end, he's like, wait, I got to tell you, you got to look this up. And as I'm looking it up, Jaco is doing a live stream about it that very moment. And what it is it says that the military, domestic or foreign, the military, and that's the part I got hung up on. I'm texting them going, dude, they're talking about Iraq here. I can't find where it's talking about the United States. So I found it, and it's the first paragraph before it spells out the conditions of this process, is that the government, the citizens, the citizen government that we have in place right now has 1 year to expose itself. It has 1 calendar year to do whatever damage it can do, so they have evidence and they're exposing it. It's exactly what it says in 11.3. I posted it on one of my 3 channels, Eggface, Allison Intelland, or Rebel Republic, before we went live. So I'm going to put my money on it. May not happen the 21st, because that's just the deadline for them to do the damage. The actual response to that may not be on the 22nd, but I'm going to put my money on that. We're going to have a period when we have a general in charge and not a president in charge. And then he may even stick around till the next election period, or they may have a special election or something. I don't know. But I do think that it's going to, my money's on, after the 365 days, the military, whatever's left of it that's decent, is stepping up.
But
Scott, your thoughts?
Where does that timeline actually start? I mean, does it start from 11/3, or does it?
The day he took the oath. That's the day that he knowingly brought a foreign government into power in the United States.
Well, I guess we'll find out, and you've been hearing a lot of chatter kind of going around about all the calendars, because so many people always wanted to put a timeline on everything, and every time they did,
the military's going by the regular old calendar,
right?
Right. So that's the timeline, and the timeline starts from the moment he knowingly brought a foreign power into power, a foreign country into power. So if that doesn't happen, it's time we all need to start brushing up on our Chinese, or get off our asses and do something. One of the two.
Well, it's such a minefield topic, especially on this platform, to even talk about. It's kind of hard for me to really go into any substance on anything. It's just,
this is just based off the Department of Defense's war manual. One sentence. My belief is they actually have a stipulation for what's happening here in the United States today. So all I'm telling you is the reality is I have all the evidence in the world to prove that this sentence exists, and that the military body can make this move on the people who are in charge right now. So I'm not making up like new, this is not intel. This is me taking like black and white proof of, I think it's page 673 of a 1,200 page document, and which is a PDF you can easily find if you look it up on the web and flip down till you hit 11.3, and that first sentence spelled out, and then below gives the stipulations of any way. And the neatest thing about it is when I was reading it, is it says that this it's the word they use starts with a B, but this government that's in charge could even have taken charge in a quiet way without anyone knowing it. It doesn't have to be through warfare. That still counts. That they recognize that governments can secretly take over.
Well, this kind of goes to the law of war manual too, and I've read that. And
the DOD one, that's probably what I'm talking about.
Although I don't know if that's the law of war manual itself. But there is
this might be the laws that made them be able to write the one you're talking about. Then
I don't know.
This was the framework for the book you read. Maybe it was 1,200 pages.
I don't know. Like I say, I haven't looked at it to do a compare contrast type thing. But like I say, I did a complete breakdown and read the law of war manual, and it has a lot of substance to it, to what the government can do in order to combat, certain situations, and it's laid out in law. And so that was a real fascinating thing. And
you mean military, not government, right?
Right. But it's also ran by DOD. It's an actual manual that comprises federal law, the what is that one overseas? The Hague Court, and so federal statute, Hague Court, and I think it was part of the DOD itself. And so, but everything that they cited was actually wrote in case law on how to proceed on a legal matter on how to do that. So it was
maybe
really,
that's why I talked about Iraq so damn much. Case law, because that's what while I'm trying to speed read through the document, it just says in the case of Iraq, blah 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 blah, this happened, blah blah blah. So maybe that's the case law. Maybe we're reading the same document. It was the first page blue, said Department of Defense with the big seal on it. Yeah, we read the same manual.
That's the cover of the book.
Yeah, that's the one that I was ripping through today. And it was it's around page 650-ish, where you maybe even 800, but you could flip through the pages real fast. It's a PDF, and one stroke will get you 50 pages. So it's worth going through and looking at that.
Let me address the chat real quick. For those of you who are just showing up, wondering why we're not on Podbean. We tried Podbean twice, and my mic for some reason would not work at all. So we jumped over here on YouTube, Facebook. That's why we're here. But welcome, glad you found us. Glad you showed up here. Here's a question that I have for both of you. I know a lot of things went out in Telegram after Saturday's speech. I pay no attention to it. A lot of people dropping what they call comms or whatever. And I really, honestly, I do not pay attention to any of it. One of my favorite ones, though, that's been put out was the fact that T himself was not wearing a tie. He had his red hat on, and a lot of people said that was a signal. Red, you want to go first?
I don't put a lot into that either, but taking the tie off is the end of the day. Is like when the job's done, that's when you take the tie off, and that is true. So many things were said. Honestly, I don't think it matters in the big picture. When this thing is all said and done, whether that tie was on or not. but I know that people are just looking for hope and a reason to get up and try and live a normal life. But I'd say he came out ready for battle. So maybe, yeah, I don't think I'd be too far off to say, yeah. I mean, he came out with his guns blazing. He said things that would get his ass in court so fast, and I don't think he's going to court on anything he said that night.
Scott, your thoughts on that?
Well, I was reading some of the comments in the chat, and people were saying, yeah, no tie, hat pulled down real low, kind of looking serious, kind of looking more like, the average person. And that creates a persona of wanting to relate to common people instead of looking like a standard businessman and just sitting up there and giving the same old speech. And if he's coming out there and naming names and stuff, he's looking more like a common person that is wanting to engage. And if that was his purpose, then it was probably pretty well received. So this goes to rapport and building rapport with people and not looking like the establishment, kind of separating yourself from looking like the establishment. And I think that would really help for him in order to be relatable to a lot more people. So sounds pretty good to me. I mean, shoot.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, that's just things that you can, kind of read into stuff as far as, and like I say, I didn't see it. So I'm just kind of going off what y'all are talking about and what some of the people are saying, in the chat and all. But to me, that would make him very relatable to a lot more people, and especially coming out there and dropping some bombs, so to speak, on naming names. Well, that certainly is giving him a lot of street cred, and he doesn't mind going toe to toe. So, and I certainly am in agreement. I don't think they want to drag him in the court. That would be the last place they'd want to take him.
Yeah. I look at it at face value. I don't try to read anything into it anymore. I don't try to read between the lines or codes or any of that stuff. I can bite on the fact that what you're saying, Scott, that he's trying to relate to people. I'll say that was the look he was probably going for Saturday night. But any of the other stuff, I just really I think he showed up. He delivered a speech. He definitely was pointing the same things out that he always does, and he talked several times about taking the White House back in 2024. So those are the things that I listen to because that's what I actually am hearing. I'm hearing that instead of anything that's said between the lines. And so the cool thing about having you and Red on here, it seems like we all three have a different view of what we're seeing, hearing, and thinking. And it makes the conversation very interesting because we can have a good dialogue, a respectful dialogue, even if I don't believe the same as you guys. It's important that we can at least still have this conversation.
Well, I tell everybody I don't agree with no man 100%. And I certainly don't expect nobody to agree with. In fact, if somebody says they agree with me 100%, I will take off running from them because it's like you don't have any kind of critical thinking skills on your own. So to me, nobody can agree 100% at 100% of the time on everything. It's just that to me, it's just that's almost creepy. So I certainly am in favor of somebody disagreeing with me. I don't give a shit.
I don't want to be creepy, so I disagree. Oh, regardless of who's in charge or who's not in charge, I still think that we still have a lot of work that needs to be done. even at our local levels, and that's where I try to stay. Keep most of my focus on is how do we get people involved at the local level? Meet your sheriff, know your sheriff, um, ensure your sheriff is a constitutional sheriff, and just get involved at every level you can. And we can clean this mess up, whether Trump comes back or not. If he does, that to me is the cherry on top. If what a lot of us hope is going on happens, I think that would be great. But for me, I gotta stay focused and put my energy where I think it's going to be most effective. And I just listened to a stream before we came on this afternoon, and there were some things put out there that I was just like, "Oh, here we go again. We're gonna ride that. We're gonna ride that bus again." So we'll see where it goes. But I'm definitely not. I'm not stepping on that bus with them, and I'm not
Can I
riding.
throw something out
Yeah,
about
go
what we
ahead.
said a minute ago? One thing I strongly believe is he's just there. I don't think that it's ever going to be like three of the 50 individual areas that we have in the United States flip. I don't think that's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, the only way he's coming back in my opinion, is through an election series. I could be wrong, but I think that it might be too spoiled and just would be like a interference do-over type of a situation. You know what I mean? I think the outcome isn't going to be so much that somebody else gets the job, that they just say it's a do-over. In the meantime, the general's in charge. Most, that's real, because I think most people have their hopes on this flip. And the other thing I like to say is, if you watched the speech the other night and then you watched your local news and then you were upset because your local news grossly distorted what actually happened during that rally, I'm asking you to go to Rebel Republic. There's a 5-minute video that will show you how to make a complaint to the FCC.org, and you will just follow the 8 questions. It takes longer to watch the video than it does to go fill it out.
Amen.
So please, your local news, and what this does is it gets a complaint opened up against your local news station. It goes to their desk. They have to respond. It gets reviewed by a panel or a person or a group of people, or people individually, one at a time, review it to see if they broke the law. If they did, they get fined. But as long as that complaint is open, they're walking on eggshells, and they could take 30, 60 days, and you can go see the progress, and they have to respond to your complaint. So you get to read it. That's all. That's very important.
Yeah, that is a very important thing. And Red, I'll try to grab that off your channel and play it here too. This is I want to ask Snafu.
Don't play it. It's like wiping your butt with
bad.
sandpaper. It's not a fun one. There's other fun. You know what you can grab? You can grab my because I used legal music that kind of sounds like Star Wars, the Rebel Republic. It's like a 1.5-minute video of me flying around in an X-Wing fighter. If you want to grab that. And that's the inspirational to go join the channel. That's my channel. What do you call it? My introduction to my channel.
There you go. So anybody who is listening or watching right now, if you've never heard of Red or Snafu, the mods have dropped the links in the chat. Grab that and go subscribe to them. 2 very, very patriotic men, great guys here. I enjoy listening to them and having them on the show here. I'm gonna go to Snafu with this next one, because we talked about this behind the scenes here, and this kind of got the feathers ruffled a little bit. So I'll forewarn you guys, Snafu could really pop out here any minute. And we were talking behind scenes here, Snafu, about what happened in Maricopa County, and where is it? Why have we not seen it? Your thoughts on that?
This is one of these things we can't talk about.
Well, just be careful.
Well,
hey, if I have to, I'll push this over on Rumble. Believe me. I want to talk about it because I know a lot of people are asking that question. What happened in Maricopa? and all the stuff that happened where they hired the ninjas to come in. Where is that? Pillow Man came out. He did a deal where he was showing all that all the numbers, but yet nothing has become of it. And I still am asking the same question. Why have they not come out? Why is it not in court? Why are they not showing us everything? It's frustrating because I know Red thinks in his opinion that it's not gonna, the states won't flip, and then he comes back. It's going to be more than that, and I can see the path for that for sure. But it's frustrating for all the listeners out there. They would sure like to know if we probably think that anything is ever going to become of that. And I kept telling them, keep an eye on it, keep an eye on it. It's coming out. They're going to deliver it. And then nothing happened out of Maricopa County. Matter of fact, I think the last I heard, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, a judge put a stay on something, made him stop for some oddball reason. I thought they were already done with everything, but it sounds like they're still there.
I followed Jovan pretty close until he got taken down off YouTube a week or two ago. And he was kind of going over all that stuff. And he said he can't say much, but that it's all looking good. And he's got NDAs on him. And he gave me a warm, fuzzy feeling. I guess that's just the best way to say it. And my opinion is they're just not going to come out with one of the 50. They're going to try and come up with 7 of the 50 or 50 of the 50. And I don't think they're trying to. Now, Jovan was proving on the ground problems. And I think what's going to cause the tsunami is going to be the outside interference problems, because, again, like I said, on the 21st of the first month last year, somebody raised their hand and took an oath and brought a foreign power in. And so that's what they have to prove. The people on the ground right now, I think, are inconsequential. They're not, they'll be handled. That part will be handled, but you don't have to prove both. You just have to prove the one thing to prove that we have an overthrown GOV. See, so it's kind of two different things, I think. But Jovan says it's coming.
You think it's coming, Snafu?
Well, all I can say is there is remedy in law for this, and to say that there's not would be ridiculous, because there definitely is. There's a remedy in on this, and if it's for them waiting on other states to compile all their evidence and do a mass drop or something, I don't know. Could be. If so, that works as well. I mean, or they could drop one, and then a couple of weeks, 3 weeks later, drop another one, and just because it would just keep the news cycle just going and going and going. And they could do that for all these states. In my opinion, all these states are done like this. I mean, it was obviously proven here in Texas that things occurred, and Project Veritas broke that down in South Texas, down around San Antonio. And there's definitely people that were well aware of what was going on. And this goes back to my same thing, is like, how are all these people able to stay in office all these years? There's definitely something occurring.
But I think there's two things occurring. I think George Soros is the ground problem, and interference on the internet is a China problem. And I think it's two different powers fighting for this land. It's two different bad guys in a race to get to where China got first. I think it's two different. I'm positive that AOC is on the opposite team of Joe Biden?
I would personally think that there's factions in China that are completely aligned with the Soros crowd.
They're controlled by the Soros crowd. That's the way
Well,
the connection I would see it going.
well,
It
yeah.
wouldn't be the other way around.
Well, this goes all the way up to the Rothschilds and everything like that. I mean, who's the one that invaded China a long time ago and got them in the opiate wars? You know, it's quite easy to see that they invaded China. We got this. China has the same problem as the United States. I mean, it's run by a cabal.
Yes.
The story. So
at the same time, there's also a part of China that's been spending a lot of money trying to get control of elected officials, along with George Soros.
That's the same crowd.
Okay, I always saw it as two different crowds fighting for one, but I could see the same thing. But
yeah, so
I don't think Klaus Schwab wants Xi Jinping sitting in Biden's seat. I think he wants to be, you know what I mean? Because or for the new world order, what I'm saying.
They put in there. That doesn't matter to them because these people want to hide behind the scenes. They don't want to be out in the spotlight. They want to stay hidden.
I don't mean it like that. I mean that China has control of that white building in DC.
Well, you know, there's also white dragons over in China, and they're the same thing as right over here. You know, and this all goes to, you know, the gold and silver manipulation that's been going on for decades now. And
do you stack silver?
Of course.
Okay, maybe that's where I know you from, the silver community.
So yeah, I'm all about that, you know, and there's a lot more moving parts to this than we'll ever know. And I've been told by certain people that can't be disclosed that no longer work in government, but worked there for years, decades. And they said, without a doubt, there is shit going on behind the scenes and that you're never, ever going to know. If you think that there's going to be a perp walk on Fox News or CNN, guess what? You're probably never going to see it. But it don't mean that shit ain't going on behind the scenes.
That's why we're here. That's why we dig every day, along with everybody in the chat.
Well, I get that, but there's going to be information that will not be disclosed. And this kind of goes to the continuity of government. And so now once you get COG involved and all this other stuff, you got a lot of people, especially in the military, that are looking at, you know, things at a whole different level than what we're seeing. What we get to see is the movie, you know, we're all watching the movie, you know, blah, blah, blah. But what the hell is really going on behind the scenes? Probably not going to know. Some of it you don't want to know. But
what about people being sentenced? Do you think it's fair if the GOV never tells us that HC gets gets in trouble for a crime, is accused, and why is the word leaving me? She's sentenced, with crimes.
Indicted?
Not indicted. What's the final one? She's guilty.
Convicted.
Convicted of these crimes. Like, do you think that it's okay if we never hear that? Do you think it's possible that we'd never hear that? Or do you think that's something that only justice, like my opinion is, if it's a just world, everyone knows who's guilty of what. It's not a hidden secret.
Of course I would love it to be public record.
But what do you think they would do?
I really kind of question if we would ever really, because you always hear, oh, it's already happened, blah, 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 blah. And what is really staggering to me is how they're able to fake shit on TV and all these masks. I mean, you got masks now that people can wear that look so realistic. You can't tell them. You can't tell. I've seen guys wearing actually a Chinese Asian looking woman. Look, you would thought it was an Asian looking woman. Flip up its top, you see some really nice looking titties, and then pull it up, and it's a dude underneath. I'm
And
like,
Mrs.
crap.
Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
People are saying that the guy on stage, well, not people specifically, Jaco said that Trump wasn't Trump. It was a stand-in. I don't care about that. It doesn't have any reflection on the true end result of this whole game, but that's what he said. And, you know, Jaco's interesting.
All I know is the government people have had doubles for a long time, and that's pretty common knowledge. We've always heard. I mean, look at what even John, what was his name? That got whacked over there in that prison in Spain. John
McAfee. And it's the 15-second mask you're talking about, CIA 15-second mask.
Well, he admitted he had a couple of doubles, and one of his doubles even got poisoned. And then you start hearing about older stories from people like Jim Mars, who's dead now, who was going into all the JFK stuff and was pointing out that Oswald had a double. They duplicated Oswald, and he had a lot of compelling evidence to suggest that that did happen. That's why that guy was saying he was a patsy. He was actually some guy from Brooklyn, New York, you know, that just happened to be of Russian descent. And so, you know, do you know what the hell the truth is? No, they've been really good at hiding this stuff from everybody for so long. Now that they can manipulate anything that you see come across this damn screen, you don't know if it's real or not. There's not a damn thing that you know that's real. And so saying that will, even if you was to see public executions or whatever like that, is that really them? Or have they already been gone? Or, you know, who the hell really knows? All I can say is if they clean all this crap out, you know, it's still going to be up to the people to really hold public officials accountable, even at their local level today. And that's not being done. There's still a lot of rampant crap that's just going on today. So the people have to wake up to what their rights are and defend those rights. You know, people say, oh man, you know, you could run for this and you could do that. I was like, no. This has to be a leaderless movement. Everybody has to do, these are your rights. I can't defend your rights for you. You know,
Right.
I have my rights.
Amen.
I'll defend mine, but you have to defend yours. And you have to hold these people accountable. It's not up to me. It's up to you. You want to know who's the biggest problem in? Look in the damn mirror. If you hadn't done anything to hold these sumbitches accountable, that's you. You know?
Right. And
Yeah,
to back up your
with you on
point,
that, Scott. I agree with
he
you.
said, basically, you said in 3 sentences, Intel doesn't matter.
Well,
Intel does not matter at this point. It's time to do something. Of course, you need the news. We don't really have news. You got OAN, you got Frank Speech, and actually Frank Speech is probably the best intel on the planet because he's coming out with everything hardcore. 2 hours live every night, 7 to 9 p.m. Frank Speech, and he needs a new source of income. But I don't think it matters. Was that the real Trump or not? I don't believe that matters.
well, I it would be good to have some confirmation because we've all been in this for quite some time now, and to have
Amen.
a little bit of confirmation will only embolden people to really get off their ass and do something. And so, would it be good? Yes, of course it would. It would really help build people's confidence because the American people have a lack of confidence right now. They have a lack of confidence in themselves. And that's a huge problem for a lot of people. And I know I deal with this with quite a few people. They throw up their hands and da 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 da. It's like, the only reason is because you have zero confidence in yourself. And are you going to have to go out there and stand against the winds of public opinion and take all that shit? Yes, you will. And it's really hard for a lot of people because they don't want to be ostracized and lose their friends and all that. Well, guess what? They really weren't your damn friends to start with, because anybody that doesn't want to know the truth obviously has a problem with the truth.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that causes division and confusion, and I really just I agree with you on the point that we're all going to have to get out there and clean this up. I mean, there's so much work that needs to be done. I'm just trying to encourage people to be that person, to step out and lead, and not just wait for somebody to do it for you. You know, a lot of people are still sitting there waiting for the miracle to happen, and even if it did, I try to tell them there's still your local level that you got to clean up, because Trump is not going to get the broom and the dustpan out and come to every little town across America and sweep up. He could only do what's at the federal level. So it's up to you to do it at the local level. Period. That's it.
Well,
End of
not
story.
only that, though, it's only going to embolden the white hats to keep going more when they know that they have the people that have the will to actually want to clean this stuff up instead of sitting around being apathetic. I mean, how would you like to go into battle with somebody that won't even pick up a damn, you know, anything and to help themselves? So if you're sitting there looking at all you got 330 million people sitting on their ass, going like, well, why should I get up and fight for these people when they won't even get up and do anything them damn selves? So it would only it creates a feedback loop. The more that people in the white hat area could see that, yeah, we got more support, the more information that comes out and confirms the people on the ground, yeah, we're actually really seeing things. It would create this feedback loop, and it would only get bigger and bigger and stronger and faster. And so that's the situation that we have to get to. We have to have this paradigm shift in everybody's thinking. And that's where it comes back to confidence. And when you have zero confidence, you're always second guessing yourself. You're never wanting to take that initial positive step and move forward. You're just The apathy is so bad right now. It's staggering, and we see it over and over and
It's a
every
sin.
day.
God
Well,
helps those who help themselves.
well, that saying's been around for how long and why? Because it's true.
It needs to be said.
Has to be said. And like I say, once people have the confidence and then start having the will to do it, it's only going to embolden the people up high. They want to fight even harder. And as they do that, information will come out. You can't keep it all forever. It'll take a while. I agree. But, it will only make it to where shit starts leaking out. And then once you have more people in government that are standing up for the right thing, there's a lot of people in government quitting right now
Yeah.
because of what's coming down for their little mandates. I've been told this. A lot of them, they're retiring early, they're quitting because they're not going to buy into it. So this
25 Democrats are stepping down and out of the House as we speak. 25. That's a big gap to fill. It gives the Republicans an opportunity to make a move.
Sure, but it's only going to embolden more people in government to get on the right side of history. I mean,
Hmm.
this is something that, like I say, it's only going to create a feedback loop. And once you start that, you can't stop it. It's just
Well,
things.
I think
to
that's going to happen with the what's happening to the children. I think that's where that other 290 million people that have no idea what's going on yet, that you mentioned out of the 330, assuming 40 million of us know what's going on. I think that's going to be the wake up point. I think that's going to be where you and I are consulting people and helping people heal. And I think that's why it's very important for us to get rid of, block all of these negative people in the chat that are coming in and bringing Satan with them. Because
yeah,
we have to be in the right state of mind, and we have to be surrounded by people sending us love. And we got to send that love back, because we got to give a lot of love really soon when they found out. I follow Madison Marquette, and I believe every word she says. Any woman, child, or man that says I was molested, I believe unquestionably. And her stories work well for me. And other women are coming out slowly and saying things very similar to things she says about locations and things, that places they've been. So I don't even need that. But I believe that that's the thing you're talking about. I believe is going to happen in an instant.
I want to add to what Snafu said when he said that it emboldens people. You know, they say fear breeds fear, but something that's more powerful than the fear is trust in God, and courage breeds courage. So what Snafu's talking about, people get emboldened, they get that self-confidence, they get courage, and it breeds more courage. It gets more people involved, more people wanting to help make a difference. And so we got to stay focused on that, because the fear, we won't accept it, and we're not gonna buy into the fear any longer.
I'd
Well,
rather be dead than communist. So
well,
my fear isn't death, it's communism.
fear is all that low vibration crap,
Mm-hmm.
and low vibration is of the dark side of the devil, where higher vibrations is of the light and of the truth and, of love, whereas fear is hate and all this other stuff. So, this is why I'm saying, people have to elevate and get out of that fear process, that fear thinking, get into the higher elevation. That's why I like to joke around on some of my shows and stuff, kind of laugh and have it and crack up and just make fun of some of the crap, because then people are, not if you want fear, turn on the mainstream media.
There
You'll
you
get
go.
that all day long. And so, why do you want to subject yourself to that? And why is it you don't want to elevate up? So, to me, it's more important to making fun of something and ridiculing it has so much more effect than just sitting there and just bashing it all day long. Because when you start making jokes of it, then you can see the hilarity of it, the ridiculousness of it, that stings them way more than they'll ever know. And they know it, damn sure do, because look what they're trying to do now. They're trying to make fun and call everybody hicks and all this other stuff on one of them. Like, I think it was a Jimmy Kimmel stuff where they're trying to make everybody look like a hick because, oh, you believe in this. It's like, you're just making yourself look like a dumbass. Go for it, because I'm going to make fun of you. And the more people that say stuff like that, the more I get to make fun of. And why is it they always say the left can't meme, you know? And it's just stuff like this, because all they can do, this goes back to Mockingbird Media, Operation Mockingbird. They can only repeat because they have no, um, they're not able to make things on their own. They're not creative, and they can't pop off stupid jokes, and it just really hits home with them. And so when like
They're
I said,
trained to get pissed. They're
well,
trained to go straight. So they skip comedy altogether.
that's
It's
because
straight to
they're
anger.
right to negative vibrations and all that lower vibration stuff. And so keep everybody all mad and all pissed off and all that stuff. You know, that only goes so far. And people want to laugh. They want to joke. They don't want to sit around and be pissed off all day. I mean, it's no fun to be pissy all
No.
the damn time.
No.
So it, like I say, when you start making fun of them and start poking holes in their stuff and joking around about it, that gets them way more than you'll ever know. And that's why I love poking fun at them. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. Here's one for you, Snafu, and for you too, Red. I did headline hits this morning, and I pulled a clip up from Saturday Night Live this last Saturday, and they were doing a piece on old Puddin' Pop himself there, Biden. It is hilarious, but Red, you have to watch it because it says some things. They talk about a lot of things that we talk about, and I'd like to get your view of that. I'd like to see what you think when you watch that clip. Are they sending signals? I personally don't think they're sending signals, but it's amazing the things that they're actually putting out there because you can't make this stuff up. And are they poking fun at us, or are they just putting what they think is truth out there in comedy, like you're talking about there, Snafu? I just thought it was a really good piece. I enjoyed watching it today.
Are you going to play it?
I can't play it or it'd take us down. I wish I could.
Oh, I see.
I started at
Gotta
Second
check it out
City's
though.
pretty much, with the exception of a couple years, every cast of SNL came from Second City, Chicago. So if you were in Second City, Toronto, you had to come through Chicago to get on SNL. One of the directors for the year when it was very bad, if you guys remember the year when Rusty from Vacation was part of the cast, Julia Louise-Dreyfus was in there. A guy named Del Close was the producer. Del Close started Second City. Del Close was with Sharna Halpern, and they opened up. If it wasn't for Del Close, you would not know who Chris Farley is, who I met after he was in rehab, after he was in SNL. By the time I came back as a young adult in my early 20s to Second City, the people I was with were Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Rachel Dratch, Andy Dick, Andy Richter. Andy was just about to leave to go to Conan. Conan was writing for, I think. But my point is that Del Close and Sharna were both witches. And the black book that I found with Epstein's name had the daughter of the woman who financially owns SC in there. Now, I don't know if it was her number, but her name, Joanne Sloan, showed up in the book. I didn't look at the phone number, but that freaked me out. And they were really pushing Darwinism. Not Darwinism, Taoism. And there was a dark side to what was going on kind of there religiously, in my opinion. And I was asked to, I was there for a very long time. I was asked to try out for the touring company. And they were like, you got to remember all these old scripts. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing scripts. I'm not doing that. So I got away from them. But when I look back, all those people took the bait. All those people. So if you get to the SNL level, I think you're already dirty. And I think they'd have to be poking fun of us because how many of those people, I mean, Stephen Colbert, I knew him well. Stephen Carell, they were best friends when I knew them. I knew them 3-4 years before they ever got famous for the whole time. And I seen them perform a million times, both of them together live. And those guys, they were kind of like seniors when I was a freshman. Think of it like that at Second City. And Those guys already took the bait and they're gone. So absolutely, whatever SNL is saying, they're not trying to give us any hints. They're already dirty. And what he would do is Del Close was a heroin addict. So what he would do is he would sit there during class and he would just pull this rubber band every time he wanted heroin. And the only time I ever heard him laugh, and I was the reason why they brought Farley to my room is because I was going to be the one that Sharna pitches to them to replace Farley the next time they come to town. And I'm walking down the hallway on School Street, and there's a little 10-inch glass window, and the class is roaring. And Del Close is laughing as loud as I've never heard him laugh before. And I look in the window, and who do I see? Will Ferrell and Vince Vaughn. And Will was doing his nervous kind of the same character he does in every movie. He was doing it, and he was kicking ass. And my heart went in my stomach. I go, oh my God. Well, there goes my shot. Those two guys are going to get hired before me because they were really good. They were better than me.
Well, there's
they're all dirty.
There's nothing I could add to that because back in the day, I used to break horses and build houses. So that's pretty much. I'm a carpenter by trade.
I was building residential. I was at the same time I was a union carpenter.
Gentlemen, and everybody listening, I dropped the YouTube link in chat and the private chat. If you guys want to click on that, that's the SNL I'm talking about. So you guys can take a look at that. I'll drop it in the big chat again, so you guys can grab that if you guys want to watch it. I'm pretty sure I just clicked on it. I'm pretty sure it's the right one, but I thought it was like I said. I think they're poking a little bit of fun at us, but I found it to be very interesting script that they wrote and the things that they were putting out. It's about the stuff we're talking about right now. So,
and they're disclosing it just like Satanists do.
Yep, it's wackadoodle. Check it out for sure. Well, gentlemen, I think it's that time for final thoughts, and we'll wrap this up. And I gotta go. I got something I gotta take care of outside. So I'm gonna go to Red first for final thought.
Oh, peace and love worldwide. Live your life before your life lives you.
Amen. Amen. Scott, do you have a final thought for the show today? And I apologize again to you guys and to all the listeners out there about Podbean. I'll get that fixed. I'd love to have you guys come back on again on Podbean. I know it's something probably pretty simple that I overlooked or something. I don't know, but I'd love to get you guys on Podbean so we don't have to talk in code.
Yeah, no, I would be up for that. So, I've got a lot of irons in the fire and working on several different things. So it's going to be, I got some pretty interesting things that I'm working on in the background that are really going to be fascinating, especially to me. And as I kind of start getting more information on it and things like that, I'm actually talking to a doctor and had breakfast with him yesterday morning and talking about some really high level interesting things that are going to help people in various different ways. So I'm kind of looking forward to that and looking forward to learning some more about it. And I'm always looking to get new things started and always staying kind of busy. And I think a lot of people should really focus on that too. So many people are in such stress on everything, but find the positives in some of this stuff and start working at being a carpenter, for sure, once you know what the problem is, then you look for solutions on how to fix it. And that's what guys do. Guys fix shit, they want to go out and fix it. It's like, yeah, this broke, let's go fix it. And so you find the solutions and stuff, and then you start moving towards the solutions. And that's where a lot of people need to really focus on. It's like, yeah, we know this is broke. Okay, how do we fix it? And then start moving in that direction, because it's going to elevate your thought process, keep you moving on a positive side instead of staying all focused on the negative shit. So if I could tell anybody anything, is stay positive and look for how to fix things in your life and what's going on around you. And some of the big picture things are obviously going to be out of everybody's control, even mine. So that's why I'm looking at other ways to develop in areas that I haven't yet. And so that's where I'm kind of focusing and looking forward to. And, you know, that's to me is the biggest thing. So other than that, all I can tell everybody is the same thing I always say: stay frosty. Donald Trump is a fucking genius.
All right, thank you both for jumping back over here on YouTube with me. Love.
I want to invite my audience. Can I invite my audience to watch me finish this on my adventure channel?
Absolutely.
It is a battery box in an ammo can, and we're going to finish the wiring on my channel in the next week. Thank you very much, Mike.
That's cool. Yeah, thank you, Red. Thank you, Snafu, for joining us. Mods, if you want to drop their links a couple more times as I play the final video as we get out of here, that'd be great. So, man, just an awesome conversation with you two gentlemen. I surely do appreciate it, and I look forward to the next time we meet. So, have a great day, and we'll catch you tomorrow morning, folks, for devotions. That's at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to join us then. So y'all have a great day. Much love. God bless.
Hoping for a sincere performance, but open to finding the moment, to finding out where I'm headed now. Looking for a sign of disaster, so I can make it there faster. I'm weighing the consequences out. I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I'll keep going till I make it to the other side, the other side. Can you tell me the secret of how you can take it or leave it? How you can blend in with the crowd? I'm so scared, so damn afraid to look. I'm so sick of talking